Hey everyone, welcome to Nicola Valley Talk. It's a product of the Experience Nicola Valley program. Our talk show is called Nicola Valley Talks, broadcast every Thursday on our Experience Nicola Valley Facebook page. I'm your host, Jano Howarth. I'm the arts and culture blogger for Experience Nicola Valley. And tonight we've got a very special guest, a person I've known for quite a while now and someone I really enjoy working with. We have a special program in the for the Arts Council called Open Mic, and it has been hosted at Kekuli Cafe for almost 3 years now. And ever since we began, we've been working with Elijah Mack-Stirling, and it's just a pleasure to get to know him. He was working there when we got there, and is now the franchise owner of Kekuli Cafe here in Merritt. So lots of experiences with him during these years, and really excited to have him on here to talk to us about Kekuli Cafe and what they've been doing during this time of COVID. COVID-19 and all the protocols and how they've been managing. So let's get Elijah on here.
Hi, Jano.
Hi, Elijah. Great to see you.
Likewise, how have you been?
Good. And it sounds like you've had a really busy few days. So what have you been up to the last few days?
Yeah, it's. I feel like the obviously the wheel never stops turning, but um, just yesterday, my brother, or 2 days ago now, he's graduated from high school and received his diploma, and so we're just my family and I were organizing a barbecue for him and really just celebrating his success.
That's awesome. Yeah, really nice that you could get together. I'm so glad things are quiet enough now that we can have these family gatherings. So Elijah, take a minute and tell everybody about yourself. Elijah Mack-Stirling, who are we talking to here?
Sure, yeah. Well, my name is Elijah Mack, and I come from the Nicola Nation of Bannock, BC. But I've lived in Merritt now for about 17 years, so Merritt's my home away from home. I grew up here. I was 7 years old, and I started this whole new life adventure, and I really just made Merritt my community, my home. I work, I play, and I live here, and it's been incredible.
Well, you've really made yourself a part of the community for sure. Really interacted a lot when on the sort of the political scene, the social scene. Definitely a part of different boards. Just making yourself to me, for me, definitely understanding that you're making sort of a name for yourself in these different communities, and really helping us see these bridges. So want to ask you, I would like you to describe Kekuli Cafe and how you got involved in this business.
Sure, yeah. Well, touching base on like being in the political side and different boards and working in different communities, that all came about one day. We had lost a family member, and she was fairly young, and it really hit home for me, and it was very challenging because I felt so hopeless. And in that moment, it was like, okay, you know what? I need to do something for myself, so I don't ever go down, this doubtful road and this hopeless road. So I was telling mom one day, I said, you know what? I can't do this. And I really need to do something for myself. And also, I have like three younger brothers that are following my lead. So I just really needed to show them that anything is possible, and there is hope, and there's opportunity. So that was when I kind of started my career with youth advocacy, and then as I got a little bit older, I joined the board of directors at the Friendship Center here in town, Canadian Friendship Society, and then I later joined a national board and then a provincial board. So it just really took off after high school 4 years ago, and then. It was coming down to, it is very hard to make change in the municipality, but also across the province and across the country without the support of the government. So that's what I decided to run for city council, really just to make a stand for, our youth voice is important. Like, we shouldn't be just heard, but we should also be acknowledged as the youth. And a lot of times I get the, oh yeah, Indigenous youth, Indigenous, and it's all just categorized. And it's like, no, I'm not advocating just for Indigenous people, but I'm also advocating for, the youth across this nation and the youth across the globe, because, all of our voices matter. And how are we supposed to move forward if we're not united? So I took a stance in the political sector based on our youth need to be heard and acknowledged. And for some, that wasn't enough. It was like, okay, yeah, we hear you, but you still need more experience. And that's kind of where, well, my business side kicked in, and then I'm also on these nonprofit boards, and really just about the governance structure between smaller communities and bigger communities, and they just didn't understand that, okay, our youth are being heard, but they just couldn't acknowledge us. It was always, you're too young, you're not capable. And but it was a very good run in the political battle. I was shy 4 votes, and to me that was enough. That was comforting, knowing that there's still 920 people out there that voted for me, and it felt amazing. And maybe I wasn't meant to be there this round, but maybe next time.
That's right. Definitely. Yeah. Not this round. I know that you had lots of votes and lots of support. A lot of things get said. Really helps you kind of identify your like the values and what you want to bring forward. And I know about that time you really were dropping into the business part of it, and now part of the business community as with Kekuli Cafe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I was leading with this, is that it was, for me, it was a blessing in disguise. I made a point with our community, I made a point with our province, I made a point with our nation, that our youth are capable and our youth are important. It was just a blessing, because I was just jumping into purchasing Kekuli Cafe, and I honestly don't think I could have handled both city council and owning a restaurant. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to run my business as it is. So, I just think it was a blessing, because 1, I made my point, and 2, I'm still able to do what I am doing now without sacrificing anything else. And going into the Kekuli side, I've worked here for, it'll be 6 years this year. I started the first week that we opened. And for me, it was just like, I was managing up at McDonald's. I was a junior manager up there, and phenomenal experience in the management sector. I loved every bit of it, and it gave me so much grounding as a manager I am today. But it was just time for change. And then Kekuli, I had no idea what this place was. I couldn't even say the name. So I was like, oh, you know what? I do know it's owned by natives, and that makes me proud, knowing that the Indigenous people are starting to shine and really show their potential. So for me, it was pride that took me here, and then I could say the rest is history, because well, I'm here. But it was the culture. It was the fact that there's successful Indigenous people out there. I had a mentor, and at the time I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that it was a time where I could feel like I belonged. And well, now here I am on my 2nd year of owning the restaurant.
Yeah, really, really amazing. And I know that all the time that we spend in there, it's just a wonderful little restaurant. And loved it when Sharon was there. Loved it. You often sort of were in charge there. And now, even when you're gone, which is a whole other interview, all the experiences that you've had traveling around, it's been so impressive. And while you're gone, the restaurant and the cafe has run so well. Our open mic nights were always just sort of a wonderful experience. And so I know that we've really appreciated it. And I love the food. So describe what makes Kekuli Cafe different from other local restaurants.
Oh, Our slogan pretty much says it all, don't panic, we have Bannock. It's a catchy little phrase.
So popular, yes.
Yeah, it's funny because when I travel back east to Ottawa, that's where a lot of my meetings are held. Sometimes I'll hear people just say like, "Oh, don't panic, we have Bannock," and I'm like, "Hey, that's our slogan." And it's great to hear that people are talking about it in the east, even though we only have the 2 locations here in the west. But the uniqueness about our restaurant is that it's we stick to our indigenous foods, and one of them, like the main food, being Bannock.
Awesome is so popular, and you sort of merge the indigenous cuisine with some of the food that people love to eat, and that crossover is just really good. So many people come in and stop there, and you have some great beverages. Like I have a pack of Saskatoon tea here at home, that you can come in and have these sort of mixes that help people, who are coming through, and our local people sort of understand a little bit more about the indigenous cuisine. And I know you have some specials sometimes, and it's good, and it's just a very comfortable place to come, the way it's set up, so that you can come up and get something to eat, and there's lots of room inside to sit. So right now, Kekuli Cafe, how did you manage during that real shutdown, and how are things for the COVID-19, and how are you doing now that things are loosening up just a little bit?
Oh, it's very humbling. I mean, using the word humbling a lot. And it was humbling because, a worldwide pandemic took so much influence on everyday living. And it was me being in like just going into my second year of owning a restaurant. It was so challenging because, first of all, half the time I'm still trying to figure out how to run this place. And second of all, now I got to figure out how to do it in a worldwide pandemic. But that's where the benefits of being in a franchise helped me, was that I had Sharon and Darren, the founders of Kekuli Cafe. I had them supporting me every step of the way. And, I'm so grateful for that. And I think even if we weren't a franchise, there's still amazing colleagues, and there's still amazing mentors that really just helped me get through it. And we changed so much. Like we started doing delivery because we just needed to find other sources of income, and it was just, everything was shut down. And nobody was leaving their houses, and I can't just close my doors and say see you later, because I have a business to run, I have bills to worry about, and I'm so fresh in the business. Like I think even in a few years it would still have been challenging, right? So we started doing delivery, and then we switched to strict takeout, and it was just like so many different things were changing all the time. And the biggest one for me was that I didn't get to see all my regulars. I didn't get to see all those, my guests that walked through the door, and those guests are really what helped keep me grounded in this entire pandemic. Just on a day-to-day basis, I love seeing everybody walk through those doors, and just grabbing a cup of coffee and telling me a few minutes of their day about themselves, and it just makes me feel good. And that's part of the reason why I'm in this business. But it was so challenging, and I'm just so grateful that I had the support that I did. And we went down, I think I have 10 staff on my roster here, and I went down to just me and Mom. And that was another hard thing to do, is that I had to let all the staff go, because there was just nobody, right? It was so limited. And so every day was a challenge, and every day was a success as well, because we survived. And now I have 3 people back, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that feels good. I'm really glad that you've got some staff coming back, because we miss them. Like, it's a part of our lives as well. And I know that you did a really great job right from the beginning with the protocols and the cleaning. I mean, that place, that's what's always happening. I mean, I know that because of open mic, before open mic and after open mic, we always see that going on. And I know that you did a great job. And you also really stayed in front of the community, Elijah. Like, we continued to see your interactions on Facebook and inviting people to, come in and sort of, or not come in at that time. They're just starting to now, but to take advantage of the great food that you make and offering to deliver. So it was really nice that you kind of stayed present with us during that time. I mean, everybody really was tucked in for a while. So it's been nice a couple of times for me. I still relate, like Friday nights with Bannock. so so I was just in there on Friday night picking something up to bring home and to make here. And I'm sure that you've got other regulars. What did you notice about the community during the COVID-19? What did you notice about the just the interactions from the community?
Oh, it was a phenomenal experience, and I'll keep referring back to humbling because, for so many years that I've lived in Merritt, and I've also worked, and I've also gave back so much. Like I've done sanding in the winter time. We've helped people move, and we've offered different services in the community, and really just giving back. And I've done that for so many years, and then now that I've made this endeavor of buying a restaurant. It was interesting to see like how the community would react, and also being like 22, like that was a whole different story itself. But it was so humbling because it just felt good that for those 15 years that I was giving back to our community, people are starting to show up and support, and I never appreciated a local or a small business until I started working in them. I just took it for granted.
Yeah.
And and now being in the front line, it is so important to support your local businesses. These are local people. These are people you grew up with. These are people that you watched grow and raise, and now it's time to help them in their success. And so it's very humbling going from giving back to receiving help. And I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal experience. And there were so many people in this community that were supporting me, and it feels so good.
That's good. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. And I know that summer's going to come. We're going to have travelers coming through. I know that you'll get some support. I was on the phone to someone who passes through regularly, but passes through. And I said, well, you got to come into the art gallery and see our shows, and you got to go down to Kekuli, grab a bite to eat. And so it's just, it's up to us to continue to engage people and engage them in a good way, making sure that we're still sort of safe and looking out for each other, but getting back to a little bit of interaction. So hoping that's going to happen for you. Elijah, is there anything you'd like to share with us in the community before we get going here?
Well, just first of all, thank you for the continued support, and Jano, you've been such an amazing support yourself. Just being so involved in the community, and I stand for unity in the community. I mean, it's right in the word, right? And it just, I'm gonna keep saying humble because there's so many words that I could be talking about, and there's so many things I could be saying about my experience. But I'm just so grateful. First of all, to survive. Second of all, just to be here, and I'm just so grateful that people continue to come.
Really, yeah, and just really thankful for you as well, Elijah, and your part in the community and sticking with things. I mean, we all joke now and then that, at some point Elijah's going to sort of take a little time off and enjoy some of the things that young people do. But you really do have a lot of joy in what you do and how you present that. So we love coming there to open mic. Unfortunately for us, it's going to be a little while yet, just because singing and sharing mics and whatnot is is one of the last things that we're going to get back to, but we'll find a way, and we'll certainly find ways to come in and to continue to support you. So this is awesome. The ceremony that you had when you took over as the franchise owner, and you had family gather from all over, and it was a really touching. I was very glad to be down there that day because you had music, and you had prayer, and you had smudge, and it was a great time for people in the community and for your family to get together and really celebrate what goes on. This is a great community for that, for having that kind of interaction between the cultures, and I know I'm really thankful for it. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I might get that picture in here, or I'll click that picture back up and say goodbye to all of our other people who are watching. And thank you so much.
Yes, no, thank you for having me, Jano. I appreciate it.
Okay, so let's get the live Elijah out of here, and there we go. And this was Elijah looking quite solemn, actually, but it was a solemn event and a joyous event at the same time, with Elijah and family who traveled here, and family from around here. And that was a little while back now, but I know that some of these videos and photos are still up on the Kekuli Cafe Facebook page for people to enjoy. So wonderful to have Elijah on. And I would like to say, so that's Elijah Mack, he says, the owner of Kekuli Cafe in Merritt, part of a franchise. And good to talk to him at this point in our COVID-19 protocols, being careful, but the cafe is open, so that's excellent. My name is Jano Howarth. I'm your co-host of Nicola Valley Talk, another program of the experienced Nicola Valley bloggers. Come and join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we talk Nicola Valley with special guests from the Valley and beyond. And next week, Tanya Stewart has a guest coming, and I will be back in 2 weeks. And remember, use your creativity in whatever you love to do. Thank you.